Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. President Marcos orders Filipino embassies worldwide and even the local police to start tracking down Zaldy Co. The former congressman now has a canceled passport, signaling a manhunt that could eventually bring him back to the Philippines.
And gambling tycoon Atong Ang's defense team is also on full throttle as their client is indicted over the missing Sabongeros case. Malacanang, meantime, says there will be no special treatment for the businessman as his day in court nears.
And Davao City Congressman Pulong Duterte is going on a 2-month tour of 16 countries and Hong Kong. Some of his colleagues at the House are questioning the timing and tastefulness of the travel.
Ang passport po ni Zaldy Co ay kanselado na. Tiyakin na hindi maaring magtago para naman ay maibalik natin siya dito sa Pilipinas.
President Bongbong Marcos has added another page in the ongoing government infrastructure corruption scandal saga. In another video report earlier in the day, he announced that the passport of ex-Congressman Zaldy Co has been canceled. Marcos has instructed the Department of Foreign Affairs and the National Police to coordinate with Philippine embassies abroad to track down Co. The chief executive sees the cancellation of Co's passport as part of intensified efforts to hold to account people involved in public funds misuse. The former Ako Bicol party list representative and 15 others are accused of graft and malversation. That's over a substandard flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. Co is believed to be in Europe, specifically Portugal.
May babalita ko po sa inyo na ang passport po ni Zaldy Co ay kanselado na. Kaya in-instructionan ko na ang Department of Foreign Affairs, pati ang PNP, na makipag-ugnayan sa ating mga embassy sa iba't ibang bansa para tiyakin na hindi maaring magtago itong ating hinahabol na magtago doon sa kanilang bansa. At kung sakali man ay siya'y pupunta ron, ay i-report sa atin para naman ay maibalik natin siya dito sa.
Aside from Zaldy Co, President Marcos also confirmed that so-called Queen of Contractors, Sara Diskaya, is now under NBI custody. This is pending Diskaya's arrest warrant stemming from the graft and malversation charges filed against her and 9 others by the Office of the Ombudsman. This time, the case involves an alleged ghost flood control project in Davao Occidental worth almost 100 million pesos.
Kaugnay naman kay Sara Diskaya, sumuko naman siya kahapon sa NBI at nasa kustodya na siya ng NBI. Nakikita po natin, maganda naman ng takbo ng proseso at yung ating mga hinihilaang na kasama dito sa ganitong klaseng sindikato ay haharap sa hustisya. Asahan po ninyo na patuloy pa rin ang ating investigasyon, patuloy pa rin ang ating pagpila ng mga kaso upang tiyakin na ang mga guilty dito sa ganitong klaseng iskandalo ay haharap sa batas at bukod dyan ay maibalik ang ninakaw na pera sa taong bayan. Maraming salamat po. Magandang araw po.
Zaldy Co's lawyer, Rui Rondain, says he has yet to receive information on his client's passport cancellation. What they got was the Ombudsman's motion to cancel Co's passport, filed with the 5th Division with a 5-day grace period to oppose. But no less than the DFA has confirmed Co's passport has indeed been voided effective this afternoon.
Alinsunod sa resolusyon na ibinaba ng Sandigan Bayan ngayong ikasampu ng Disyembre 2025 at sa kautusan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr., ang kagawaran ng ugnayan panlabas ay kinansela na ang pasaporte ng dating Ako Bicol Party List Representative Elizalde Salcedo Co. Itong proseso ng pagkansela ay isinagawa ng kagawaran ngayong ikasampu ng Disyembre alas 5 ng hapon.
Meantime, the palace found itself defending the announcement yesterday of President Marcos's 4 priority bills, and critics question the president's sincerity by not certifying them as urgent measures. Marcos had asked senators and congressmen to prioritize the anti-dynasty bill, which has languished in Congress for almost 4 decades now. Having this bill certified as urgent means that lawmakers can immediately vote on the measure after its passage on second reading. The other 3 measures that Marcos put forth to Congress are the Independent People's Commission Act, the Party List System Reform Act, and the Cadena or Blockchain Act. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro explained that bills are only certified as urgent if they involve public calamity or emergency. But she was quick to add that non-certification of priority measures as urgent do not diminish their importance.
Naaayon naman po sa konstitusyon ang ginagawa ng Pangulo. Hindi naman ibig pong sabihin na hindi sinertify as urgent ang isang bill, ay hindi na po sincero ang Pangulo. Kaya po binigyan niya ng mensahe, malinaw, priority bills po ang 4 na legislative measures.
However, in our sister program StoryCon, this premise was challenged by the show's hosts.
It's Article 6, Section 26. Except when the President certifies to the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity or emergency. It's a public calamity or emergency.
So there
which can be
is
anything.
a provision for it. It doesn't say only during public calamities or emergencies. And emergency, as you pointed out, covers all manners of sins, right? It's a very broad definition. In any case, the point is the President certified twice, not just once, but twice, the Maharlika Investment Fund bill. Remember? They first...
emergency ron.
Meanwhile, critics in the lower house also questioned the sudden inclusion of the anti-dynasty bill in the list of the president's priorities. In 2022, Marcos had a different tone on political dynasties, saying they were not necessarily bad to be banned. Castro responded that the changing political landscape was what prompted Marcos to make his recent pronouncement.
Ang nais ng Pangulo, mas lumakas ang kapangyarihan ng taumbayan at hindi ng iilang mapang-abusong politiko. Nais ng Pangulo na ang taumbayan ay makapamili ng liderato ng naaayon sa merito at hindi sa apelido.
In related news, Deputy Speaker Janet Garin is confident that the lower house will be able to pass its version of the anti-political dynasty bill within 3 to 4 months. On our sister program StoryCon, Garin said they have to conduct public consultations on the matter. For now, she said there is an anti-dynasty version getting the most clamor, which prohibits officials and their relatives from running up to the 4th degree of consanguinity. Garin admits there is room for improvement, but insists that the focus of Congress now is to make sure that an anti-political dynasty law is in place by the next national elections in 2028.
This is the first step, okay? It might not be the perfect anti-dynasty bill, but it's a good start. Sinisimula na yung numbers eh. Andun yung, we can feel na we have the numbers with that kind of version.
Garin also agrees with the president that party list reforms should be in place as soon as possible. At the moment, they are waiting for Akbayan party list representative Chel Diokno's version of the bill.
The reforms will entail areas where there should be no conflict of interest. May resistance yan doon sa ibang may interest, but with the recent claimers of the general public, magkakaisa naman.
At this point, let's get updates from the Senate, now busy with the 2026 budget, soon up for BICAM proceedings. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes joins us live from the upper chamber. Merimon, ano ba ang nakakasag ngayon sa Senado ukol sa budget?
Ladies, magandang gabi. December 12, 13, and 14, ngayong weekend, yan yung schedule supposedly ng BICAM. And so far, ang alam natin is gagawin ng BICAM Conference Committee sa PICC. And nasabi dito na Senate President Tito Soto, wala raw weekend para sa mga kongresista maging sa mga senador, lalo pat inaasahan nila na posibleng maging malalim ang usapan dito, especially doon sa unprogrammed appropriations kung saan dito sa Senado, malaki ang na-slash nila, ang natira na lang dito for foreign assisted, pero sa version ng GAB ng House, nananatili pa rin yung unprogrammed appropriations even for locally funded projects. Pero so far, masaya ang karamihan sa mga senador na nakausap natin, lalo pa lumalabas na education budget ang 2026 national budget sa Senate GAB dahil doon sa 6.7 trillion pesos, over 1.3 trillion pesos ang nakaalat para sa education sector. At dito, binibigyan nila importante, this is 91.24 billion pesos higher than the House GAB pagdating doon sa budget allocation sa edukasyon. And ang augmentation nila dito, it would benefit yung funding ng classroom construction, yung pagpapalakas ng capacities ng mga SUCs, mga state universities and colleges, and even yung kanilang yung DepEd school-based feeding program. Diyan meron nakaalatid na over 28.6 billion pesos. And so far kasabay niyan, yung ilan pa yung health sector, malaki rin ang ibinigay dito, lalong-lalo pinaprioritize nila ang zero balance billing with 62.66 billion pesos na allocation. Sa House, 53.3 billion pesos ito. And then ang pinapalakas din nila dito yung specialty, yung specializations ng ilang mga ospital, lalong-lalo para ma-access ito ng mga normal na Pilipino. Even ang disaster recovery, ang NDRM fund, increased ito ng 14.82 billion pesos. And sa DPWH, malaki ang na-slash. Ang budget na lang na DPWH, 570.48 billion pesos. And this is 53.99 billion pesos lower than the House GAB. And tinitingnan nila dito, mas masisiguro nila hopefully kapag naisa pa sana talaga for the year 2026, itong budget lalo na sa public works, hindi na lang magkakaroon ng anomalya sa paggamit. Ladies.
So, sa ibang bagay naman, nasa listahan ng BICAM si Senator Bato. Pero nasa na ba siya?
Nako, Ces, hanggang ngayon, siguro yung pinakamalapit na contact na meron tayo kay Senator Bato is yung picture niya dito sa likuran natin sa Legacy Wall. Pero so far naman, yung opisina ni Senator Bato, functioning pa rin naman yung mga staff niya. Pero for Senator Bato, doon nakalista pa rin siya kasi yung listahan ng mga members ng BICAM Conference Committee from the Senate, so sila Senator Mark Villar, Senator Pia Cayetano, JB Hesto, Lauren Legarda, Kiko Pangilinan, Erwin Tulfo, Camille Villar from the majority. Tapos sa minority, si Senator Jinggoy Estrada nag-withdraw nitong isang araw. Ang natira na lang si Senator Bato, Senator Bongo, and Senator Amy Marcos. Sila kasi ay yung mga vice chairman ng subcommittee ng Committee on Finance. Kaya designated itong mga miyembro ng BICAM Conference. So far, ang hanggang sa oras na ito, wala pa kasi tayong nakukuhang informasyon kung may withdrawal ba on the part of Senator Bato tulad ni Senator Jinggoy. Pero so far naman wala ring sinabi pa kung may papalit pa ba dito kay Senator Jinggoy sa kanyang withdrawal. Pero we'll see. Tingnan natin kung may bigla ang pagsulpot itong Senator Bato sa BICAM this weekend.
Alright, well, speaking of the BICAM, Mary Mon, nakaschedule na ito for this coming weekend. Yesterday, medyo nagkakalabuan pa no? May mga nagsasabi, may ibang members of the lower house, hindi daw pabor, although dinisabuse na ito ni Appropriations Chairwoman, Mika Swansing. So, all systems go for the live stream of BICAM?
So far, yes. And even the Senate is standing strong on the idea of having the BICAM live streamed and definitely 100% open to the public. Yan ang sinabi ni SP Soto, hindi raw siya papayag na hindi ito live stream. Lalo pa lahat daw ng pag-uusapan sa BICAM, it will be done on the table. Though, ang nasabi ni SP Soto, ni Senator Erwin Tulfo, and even si Senator Bamakino, parang minaririnig sila here and there na parang merong disagreeing daw somewhere outside the Senate. Pero ang sabi dito ni SP Soto, so far wala naman daw ni-raise o sinabi sa kanya si Speaker Bodge, si House Speaker Bodge, di kung merong pang lalaban o merong kontra doon sa isasagawang BICAM this weekend. Pero sabi ni SP Soto, kung sakaling magkaroon daw ng mga concerns related to that, pag-uusapan daw nila yon. Pero ang sabi pa rin ni SP Soto, hindi raw talaga sila papayag na hindi mala-livestream or hindi ila-livestream itong BICAM. Especially, this will be done for the first time wherein even yung CSOs, maaari silang makinig, tutukan nito dahil yung mga dokumento uploaded din sa transparency portals ng House and ng Senate.
Quick follow-up lang, speaking of live stream, connected to Ces's question, kung biglang sumipot kaya si Senator Bato via live stream or via Zoom, pwede ba siya mag-participate? I think someone asked that of SP Soto, I think last week.
So far, Sean, kasi even sa media, wala pa tayo nakukuha guidelines talaga. Pero sabi kasi ni SP Soto, ang isinusulong nila dito, merong gallery viewing, meron ding live streaming, pero yung pagdating sa participation ng mga BICAM, mga conference members, ang alam kasi talaga natin, usually face-to-face talaga siya ginagawa, physically siya. So it would be something different or something big kung sakaling mapepermiso ang ilang mga miyembro ng BICAM na gagawin nila yung participation nila online. Pero so far, until ngayon, nasabi rin ni SP Soto, wala rin pa raw talagang communication from the camp of Senator Bato, even kung kuwari mayroon namang paghihingi ng tulong. So far, wala pa. And ang natanong natin kay SP Soto na kung kunwari kaya, kasi ngayon parang merong impending arrest warrant, meron tayong lahat inaantabayanan na ICC arrest warrant laban dito kay Senator Bato. Ano kaya yung the most na assistance or institutional assistance na mabibigay ng Senado? Sabi ni SP Soto, maaari rin nilang tulungan si Senator Bato na maghanap ng competent na abogado kung yun ay ire-require o hihingin ng senador. Pero again, so far, wala pa raw communications from the camp of Senator Bato.
Okay, Marymon, pero bago yung BICAM on Friday, magiging busy muna ang Senado bukas. The Blue Ribbon Committee hearing resumes. Ano ba yung agenda nila bukas? Matutuloy pa ba yung flood control hearings?
Pauline, so far sa details na nakuha natin from the Senate, yung hearing bukas ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee will be tackling yung letter of authority mula sa BIR. Ito kasi ni-raise ito ni na Senator Erwin Tulfo weeks ago and ginagamit ito para raw mang-scam, makapag-extort ng pera, even especially sa mga local and small businessmen. And ang nangyayari dito, naapektuhan daw yung tiwala ng mga investors. So yun yung nakita natin isasalang tomorrow. Though ang antabayanan natin usually kasi magbibigay pa ulit ng updated na agenda ang komite by tomorrow or bago magsimula yung pagdinig. So titignan din natin kung magkakaroon ba ng pagsisingit nitong Blue Ribbon or if that will be set on another day. Kasi bukod dyan, ang sunod pang isasalang yung farm to market roads naman na meron ding overcosting na ni-raise naman ni Finance Committee Chair Senator Sherwin Gatchalian.
Marymon, may listahan na ba kung sino yung mga guests na aasahan nating dadalo bukas sa hearing in relation to the BIR laws?
So far, wala rin pa. So ang pinakakuha pa lang natin dito is tomorrow, ang agenda is yung pagsala nga ng issue ng BIR na LOAs or Letter of Authorities. Pero yung pinakalist nila, so far, wala pa tayong nakukuha. Pero we are anticipating na magkakaroon talaga from commissioners of the BIR na magre-representa and tutugunin itong mga kasagutan ng mga senador sa komite.
Connected to that, Marymon, inimbitahan ba si former BIR Commissioner June Lumagi to tomorrow's hearing? Would you know?
Wala pa. Pero yan yung isa sa mga tinanong natin nung inopen niya, nagkaroon kasi ng press con sa Senator Erwin Tulfo na dahil ba netong mga lumipas na taon, iba ang nakaupo pa sa liderato ng BIR. So si Commissioner Lumagi ba, dapat ba imbitahan siya o dapat ba meron siyang pananagutan dito or pwede pa bang siyang magpataw ng sanctions or penalties doon sa mga staff o empleyado ng BIR na inaabuso itong LOA. Sabi ni Senator Erwin, maganda rin daw para rin malaman kung ano nga ba yung magiging tugunin ni Commissioner, kung ano yung kaalaman niya during that time. Pero so far yung until ngayon, wala pa talaga tayong confirmation kung sino yung lineup o yung roster ng mga guests na inimbitahan for tomorrow's hearing.
And Marymon, doon naman sa order ni President Bongbong Marcos to Congress to prioritize these 4 bills, ano yung naging tugon ng upper chamber? Because we already heard the side of the House of Representatives, Deputy Speaker Janet Garin saying they're confident maipapasa nila yung anti-political dynasty bill in particular within just 2 to 3 months. So nag-respond na ba dyan ang Senado?
Pauline, ang sabi kanina ni Senator Bam Aquino nung nakapanayam siya ng media, ay kinatuwa niya nga raw na bukod sa Kadena Act, bukod doon sa Independent People's Commission, kasama rin itong anti-political dynasty sa mga priority measures na kailangan tugunan na at maisipasa. Ang sabi din nga dito ni Senator Bam, may mga version din na final din dito sa counterpart naman sa Senado, yung sa kanya ang final niya up to the 3rd degree ng consanguinity. So kasama dyan yung mga pinsan, pero ang sinasabi niya, sana nga raw maisulong ito ng mas pulido na. Pero ang kailangan din daw linawin, ang sabi din dito ni SP Soto is yung ano nga ba, kailangan daw ma-define ng maayos. Ano nga ba ang ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng political dynasty? And ang inaantabayanan din nila dito is hopefully nga lahat na raw, dahil lahat concerned na ang publiko dito, mainit na raw sa mata ang usapin ng politiko, hopefully maisapasa na nga ito next year.
Okay. Marymon, if you'll allow me to go back to the budget, I know we've heard so many assurances also from the Senate. I was just wondering kung meron bang nagtanong kung bakit hindi nila binabaan yung amount Diba? Parang they stuck to the same amount, 6.793 trillion. Kasi ang laki na nung utang natin.
Oo, totoo yan. Pero so far, pagdating kasi dyan, nakadepende pa rin daw talaga sa fiscal space. And ang pinakaginagawa nila dito, yung mga kailangan i-prioritize, for example, sa version ng Senate doon sa kanilang GAB for the 2026 national budget, education sector ang pinakamataas ang nakuhang pondo. And even sa history daw ng Philippine budget, ito raw yung first time na sobrang taas at pinakamataas ang education sector. Pero yun nga ang inantabayanan din ni na Senator Sherwin, kung by cam daw, come by cam, magkakaroon pa raw ba ng questions o magkakaroon pa ba raw ng adjustments doon sa allocation ng pondo. Pero kung sakali man, dapat daw ma-justify talaga ito. And kung sakaling magkakaroon ng requests pa daw o ng pagpapataas pa o pagdagdag pa ng pondo sa isang certain sa certain item doon sa GAB, kailangan na ma-justify ito and still no promises pa rin kasi yung fiscal space na meron, ito at ito pa rin yun. Kasama na rin dyan yung pagkukonsider nila sa mga deficiencies o yung mga pending na mga loans, pending na mga utang, yung mga bayarin. Kaya for example, nung ibinalik din yung pondo, yung sa 4-piece program, malaki rin yung ibinalik nila doon dahil meron pang deficiencies na kailangan ding bayaran. Kaya though walang ibang naging explanation dito si Senator Sherwin, pero still, yung ginawa nila ngayon for the House version, Senate version, yung kailangan i-prioritize, yun ang dapat i-prioritize. And ang pinakapambawi na lang nila, yung slashing ng budget ng public works para raw masiguro na hindi na talaga ito maaabuso. Even yung special provisions, for example, yung pagpapagawa ng classrooms, ibababa na ito sa LGUs at tinaaral din nila yung pagbibigay ng capacity nga sa mga paaralan para sabay-sabay na raw yung paggawa. Kasi for example, sa classroom, ang laki-laki ng backlog pagdating doon sa kailangan ipatayo sana ng DPWH. So ngayon, ito na yung pinakamabilis na paggamit at sana nga raw masiguro na magagamit ng maayos itong allocated na funding sa iba't ibang mga sektor.
So, Marymon, pero dun sa version ng Senado, wala na yung sa GIP na funds, di ba? Tinanggal nila yan?
And ang isa pang tinanggal talaga nila is yung sa unprogrammed appropriations. Dito sa Senate version, they cut it by 68.667 billion pesos. So kung i-compare sa House, 243.222 billion pesos ito. So sa Senate, naging 174.55 billion pesos. And ang halos ang niretain na lang nila talaga dito is for the foreign assisted projects. So ito, plus yung iba pang mga ginawang slashing sa Senate version, inaasahan nila na posibleng magkaroon talaga ng dialogue or conversation sa counterpart nila sa House this BICAM weekend. Pero ang sabi ni SP Soto sa kanilang timeline, December 12, 13, 14, kung mag-extend siguro by 15 pero as much as possible, ayaw raw nilang ma-extend na beyond December 14. Kasi ang habol nila, nausog din ang legislative calendar dito sa Senado na nakuha natin. Imbes na matatapos na ang session by December 19, by December 23 matatapos ang session dito. Adjourned muna siya dahil sa December 22, they hope to ratify yung enrolled copy na ng bill. Hindi na yung parang summary. So ibig sabihin, they need to give more time sa pag-print para yung ira-ratify ng Senado pati ng mga kongresista sa House is yung enrolled copy, yung full copy na ng pinagkasunduan ng BICAM. So yun yung hopefully malinis na raw, justified na raw, at wala na raw mag-question by 2026.
Yan yung, clarify ko lang, Marymon, yan yung sinasabi ni Senator Win, no, na never pa nagagawa, correct? Na i-upload yung buong kabuuan ng Senate GAB?
Yan yung transparency, yan yung at yung itong pag-print out, yung para ang i-ratify nila is yung enrolled bill. Sabi ni SP Soto, ito daw yung first time na gagawin. Kasi usually ang ginagawa raw dyan, yung nare-ratify daw, it's either parang summary copy lang daw ito nung pinaka-bill. So ngayon, ang gagawin nila, ipiprint daw lahat para full copy talaga. At lahat yun pwede para busisiin at masiguro na walang mababago. Kaya sabi rin ni SP Soto, wala raw small BICAM, wala raw small committee. Everything will be done on the table. Lahat may furnished copy. And even the public will have access to this. Kasi simula't simula nung in-establish nila yung transparency efforts ng Kongreso, ng Senate, saka ng House, lahat ng documents, lahat ng transcripts ng hearing, yung budget debates, lahat uploaded sa transparency portal ng Senate saka ng House of Representatives para mas masilip din daw ito ng publiko. So ito yung pinaka naging niche for this year pagdating dito sa paghahawak ng panukalang pondo ng bansa. And sabi nga nila, sana nga raw sa mga susunod na taon, tuloy-tuloy na raw itong transparency effort sa pamahalaan.
Okay, maraming salamat sa ating resident budget expert at reporter sa Senado, our mobile journal, Mary Mon Reyes, reporting to us live from the Senate.
You're watching The Big Story on One News, and we have more of the day's headlines when we return. Keep it here.
Welcome back to The Big Story. The Asian Development Bank has cut its growth outlook for the Philippines due to the flood control scandal. In its latest report, the ADB slashed its 2025 GDP forecast to 5%. That's down from its earlier estimate of 5.6%. The multilateral lender attributes the decline on reduced infrastructure spending caused by the flood control scandal. Despite this downgrade, the ADB expects low inflation and ongoing monetary easing to help lift growth in 2026, now seen at 5.3%. Alongside this, the ADB also approved a $400 million loan to support government reforms around ease of doing business. Under its Business Environment Strengthening with Technology program, the bank will back measures to improve regulatory systems and digitize government services. Meanwhile, the ADB will provide comprehensive support to the Philippines as it chairs the ASEAN Summit in 2026. ADB President Masato Kanda met with President Marcos yesterday to discuss areas of cooperation ahead of the country's regional leadership role. The support will cover AI readiness,
Regional connectivity and integration, and other priorities identified by the President.
What does the business sector think of the recent developments in the government infrastructure scandal? Joining us tonight to discuss this is ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines Chairman and Go Negosyo founder Joey Concepcion. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening.
Forgive my voice. May you take over
Okay.
for me.
Pawi, go for it.
No, but we have you on the show, Joey, of course, to talk about the landscape now of investor confidence in the business sector. Talk to us about the implications, what you've seen so far since this whole floodgate scandal erupted.
Well, as I was interviewed a couple of weeks back, no? And of course, it's unfortunate that something like this, especially respected leaders and legislators, did the worst thing that can actually destroy our reputation. And as you know, we are now taking the lead as the host, no, from Malaysia, and the turnover has happened to the Philippines. So this is the biggest event that the president will be hosting. No, I mean, he has just a couple of years left, and I don't see any other huge event that will happen during the remaining years of his term. So this is important, and that's why the private sector is really supporting this ASEAN hosting. And I am the current chair of the ASEAN BAC now. So we have been planning for a lot of activities and preparing for this hosting, because I think this is the one that will be able to bring back our image, especially, as you know, foreign investors, when they see a lot of scandal, especially in the Philippines, they pull back. And so we have to now tell them that everything is fine in the Philippines. We're moving ahead. Yes, there were problems in Congress that we cannot control, but hopefully it's a lesson to all of these people who took advantage of the situation, and that's what discouraged a lot of Filipinos. You saw them marching in the street. So at least what I see today, it's gradually taming down, and then we can now really focus on putting up one of the best performances in ASEAN. No? Malaysia did an excellent job in hosting the ASEAN, so it's our turn now to do our best, no? Because we have to now project it's not going bust. That there's a lot of opportunities out there for many of our, especially our micro and small entrepreneurs.
Hi, Joey. My voice is back. Just to, just to, how can we put on a good show when no one has been indicted yet? Well, no one has been put, no one's in jail. There's really not much progress in putting the masterminds to account.
Well, yes, that's true. But I think I guess it's the way our justice system moves in this country. Yes, it can be slow, but I think we have to be patient because we'd like to be sure that those really who are guilty are, are really put in jail for what they've done. But there are also a lot of good congressmen there who resisted all this temptation. No? So I feel that we in the private sector are really preparing for one of the best ASEAN hosting. And like during President Duterte's time in 2017, we hosted also the ASEAN under his leadership. And it came out very well. Despite the style of our President Duterte at that time. And I was awarded the Padma Shri Award from the Prime Minister in India for really putting a good show, and I was invited to go to India to receive the award, and I received the award in behalf of the ASEAN back leadership that we had at that time. So I am really putting all our effort, to really ensure that as we host the ASEAN this year, it will be our way of recovering that image, that the image that we were really an honest country, that everybody in the Philippines were transparent. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. So we now have to uh, turn this thing around, no? And I can see that the president and the first lady are working very hard, no, to make things more transparent. So that's why everything is televised as they, go through this whole process of determining who is guilty and who is not guilty.
Will it be an extravagant affair? How will we communicate that we are serious, that we are, we want accountability? How do we communicate that?
Well,
Sana
for
hindi na
example,
magarbo masyado. Simple lang. Kasi wala na nga
well,
pera, naubos na. No?
true, true. But the private sector, for example, like us now, we have a big event this coming the 16th of this coming month. No, December 16 is our event where we will have the first lady. We're hosting it in the Manila Polo Club, and quite a number of ASEAN delegates will be attending this together with the business sector. No, so all the big companies will be attending this cocktail event because we want to show that the Philippines, not everybody is doing the wrong thing. I mean, the private sector has been actively supporting our programs, to help our MSMEs. No, and this is the sector that we are trying to save. No, many of our micro and small entrepreneurs are suffering, and of course, things like this will create more problems for them basically. So uh, I'm confident, that the private sector, together with the president and the first lady, will be able to project the Philippines as being stable. In fact, the president will be going around to the different malls to visit the job fairs that uh, the Private Sector Advisory Council, which is the group that the president organized. I am the chair of the Private Sector Advisory Council. So we have set in different malls a job fair. So similar to what we did with the Balikbayan event just a couple of days ago, that was a huge turnout of thousands of people who went to the SM Mall of Asia, and and they just slept there at 2 a.m. in the morning, and really wanted to enter. So you can see the passion, the eagerness of our Filipino people wanting to have a better life, and many of them are micro and small entrepreneurs. So I was, shocked to see that number, and we had the first lady also in that event. We awarded inspiring uh, entrepreneurs who live abroad and who are basically starting a small business there, and or helping their family start a small business in the Philippines. No, so I'm very optimistic. Yes, there are challenges that we face, but that's how I call that's life. No, we and hopefully, hopefully people learn a lesson from this. No.
Sir Joey, you brought up the chairmanship back in 2017. I remember I went to your event with the ABAC, and at that time we were talking about, the ease of doing business, all these one-stop shops. In your opinion, have these things worked out, and are they still functioning now in 2025? It has been 8 years, because earlier I was reading a Business World report that shows that FDIs are the lowest since 2020, which was the pandemic.
Yes, that's true. I mean, the pandemic caused a lot of investors to hold back because of the crisis that we had. And I and the team were very active in the Dose of Hope. We were the first group in the private sector with AstraZeneca that were the first vaccines. Now today, of course, there are different challenges that our country faces. This whole scandal in the Congress is one of them, and but then again, I think we have to move forward. Mistakes have been committed. We cannot dwell on these mistakes. We have to be more optimistic that the Philippines will really help. Will be one get to that point of being a prosperous nation. And we do have the talent here. We have our OFWs who sacrifice their family time, and this coming Christmas they'll be away from their family. So that is how I mean, Filipinos are trying to move out of poverty, and here what we're trying to do is help them. No, help them through mentoring them, providing them access to money, providing access to market for their negosyo. So the goal really is this government is going to focus on trabajo at negosyo. In other words, job generation and helping them in their small businesses. So if we're able to do well in creating more jobs and helping those micro become small and the small become medium and the medium become large, then the economy will prosper.
Right. Well, another thing is that tomorrow they're going to be talking about letters of authorities coming from the BIR over at the Senate. So that's going to unleash another slew of corruption allegations. As far as you know, I know you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. Did they tell you about their personal experiences with these LOAs from the BIR?
Well, yes. Even our company, we do get the LOAs, and it's normal and it's part of the process, and we will just have to confront. And if of course, some people fail to pay their taxes, and then they will have to pay with an interest that will be charged. No, but in the end, I think for every Filipino, we have to try to do our best, in helping this government, and these are ways, that through, of course, you can. It's very hard to remove corruption overnight in the Philippines. No, it's been there for quite some time, and
If I may
yes.
interrupt, I know you're a guy who wants to see the glass half full instead of half empty. But when you say these things like we want to create jobs, opportunities, but if there is no accountability with erring people in government, how can we get our countrymen to have faith in the system? I know that
yeah.
I know that you want to be always optimistic. We cannot dwell on this problem, but it's very hard to buy your message. I'm sorry. How
Yes.
can we engender faith, confidence of ordinary people, entrepreneurs, when these people just get away with corruption? It's hard to buy your message.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I'm just a very optimistic person. I don't like to dwell on the pessimism side, no, because when we always
Oo,
look at the
pero
dark.
kung walang accountability, paano tayo magiging optimistic?
Well, and I guess,
Pasensya na, bumalik ang boses ko. But I have to tell you, I'm medyo jet lag kasi. But again, just maybe sharing a bit of good news, I was beside an investor from New York on the plane. And I was shocked because, oh, you're investing in the Philippines. Well, because BPO. And that's still yun, meron pang a good spot in our economy for BPOs.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
the PPOs are a huge contributor to our economic growth. But my focus, I've been around in this same thing for the last 20 years, helping MSMEs, no? And of course, there will always be challenges. Of course, there will always be corruption. It's very hard to eradicate that overnight. A country like this, it
Pero
will
this is
exist. No?
one of the biggest corruption scandals to happen in modern history, no? So,
I totally agree with you, and that's why I was shared. In fact, I was interviewed by Lucy Cruz and before, and I explained the same thing that I'm explaining today. That yes, there are challenges, yes, there are failures, and that somehow has. I mean, I always call it, the cycle of prosperity is important. Our what private sector can do. I mean, we can always, come out and say, this is a problem. This country, so many people are corrupt, but not when you're doing the hosting the ASEAN. You don't want to project the Philippines as a basket case, no. You want to project that the Filipinos are struggling hard. Yes, people are suffering, especially at the bottom of the pyramid. But the private sector is finding ways and means. We cannot control what Congress does. I mean, that is their own lookout, and many of them are going to jail for that. So we can focus only on where we are good at, and that is in helping smaller entrepreneurs scale up. Because if we are able to scale up our entrepreneurs to become from micro to small, small to medium, medium to large, then the economy will grow. And we rely on this sector, not only big business. Big business cannot turn around the economy alone. We need our micro and small entrepreneurs to have greater prosperity so that they have money to be able to invest in their business. So in a nutshell, that's my view. And the ASEAN hosting this year will help us turn that image around. And that's what we have to do, because who will want to come to the ASEAN events when all of this thing is happening? And that's why we have to speak more about, I know, good news. It may not be, but if you are marketing yourself or to get a job, you'll not tell the person, "Oh, I'm the worst person. I stole money." You don't want to do that, because then they'll not even want to come and hire you. So, in the same manner, in business, we have to project the best and downplay on the mistakes that have been done, and then ride this through, and things, I believe, will come back, because the president is doing everything in his power to really make sure that this doesn't happen again.
all right. Thank you so much for your time and optimism. ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines Chairman and Go Negosyo founder Joey Concepcion.
Right now, in other news, the camp of Atong Ang is questioning the Justice Department's resolution indicting the businessman over the missing Sabongeros case. On One Balita Pilipinas, Ang's lawyer, attorney Gabby Villarreal, said the resolution is defective and unfair. The DOJ on Tuesday recommended 10 counts of kidnapping with homicide and 16 counts of kidnapping with serious illegal detention against Ang and 21 of his co-accused, all non-bailable. The cases will be filed in 3 regional courts, Lipa City in Batangas and Santa Cruz and San Pablo, both in Laguna. The Justice Department said based on the evidence they have gathered, there is a huge chance of conviction. But according to Ang's lawyer, these pieces of evidence were only based on self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Patidongan's testimony and did not consider information from the respondents. Villarreal also questioned why Patidongan and his brothers Jose and Elakim were not charged when they themselves admitted to committing the crimes against the Sabongeros firsthand.
Marami hong inconsistencies dun sa mga affidavit ng mga magkakapatid na Patidongan. Yun po ay pinoint out namin sa mga affidavit na final namin sa DOJ. Hindi ko nakitang kinonsidera yun dun sa resolution na natanggap namin kagabi. Kaya ko sinasabi na yung resolution is deeply flawed. And rather unfair because in the beginning po kasi talagang ang nakikita namin pinupuntiran nila rito ay si Mr. Ang. Talagang desidido sila, determinado sila na idikit yung akusasyon na ito kay Mr. Ang. Parang pinagplanuhan talaga nila from the beginning.
Meanwhile, actress Gretchen Barreto thanked the DOJ for dismissing the case against her for lack of merit. Barreto's lawyer, Alma Malyonga, adds that as her client maintained, there's no truth to the accusations against her. No statement yet from NCRPO Chief Jonel Estomo, attorney Carolyn Cruz, and the siblings and children of Atong Ang, who the DOJ have also absolved so far. For its part, Malacanang assured that there will be no whitewashing of this case and that Ang will not get any special treatment despite his stature.
Ang nais naman lagi ng Pangulo ay dapat kung magsasampa ng kaso, ito'y naaayon sa ebidensya. Ayaw niya po ng agarang pag-iimbestiga tapos walang ebidensya dahil kawawa naman din po ang mga inosenteng tao.
And we are pausing for another breather, but right after that, Team Philippines has started bringing in the gold. We have the medal tally of the Southeast Asian Games next. Keep it here.
The Big Story is back with some colleagues questioning Davao City Representative Pulong Duterte's upcoming travel plans. The former president's son is traveling to 16 countries and Hong Kong for 2 months or right through the thick of House sessions when they resume. Duterte earlier asked for a travel clearance from Speaker Boji D from December 15 of this year to February 20 of 2026. He is traveling to Hong Kong, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia, the United States, Australia, United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Germany, France, Belgium, Italy, and Singapore. Congressman Pulong did not specify the purpose for the trips, only that he will be using personal funds for it. He has also asked Speaker D to allow him to attend scheduled plenary sessions and meetings virtually. Sessions at the lower chamber will resume on the last week of January 2026. Recall that on March 20 through May 10th of this year, Pulong also got travel clearance from the House to visit 17 destinations. That's only a few days after his father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, was arrested on an ICC-issued warrant.
Well, ano ba siya? Kinatawan ng distrito o Miss Universe? Nananawagan tayo sa speaker na huwag naman pahintulutan yan. Kasi tingin rin ng publiko, abuso ito eh. No, na pinapasweldohan ang mga elected representatives bilang public servants. Ganun ang paalam eh, di ba? Personal na lakad sa panahong may session.
I think he has to be able to provide a little bit more justification on those particular dates. Very important po na he should be able to make himself available pagka nagkaroon na po ng proceedings on syempre Davao City infrastructure projects.
All right, and now in other news, this time in sports, a strong start for Team Philippines at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games, with our very own athletes already picking up a slate of early medals across multiple events. And now for the very latest, we have Miguel De Pianco reporting to us live from the Sports Authority of Thailand Complex in Bangkok. Hi, Dip. Walk us through the events that happened today.
Hey, Pawi. After the opening ceremonies last night, our Filipino athletes are back to work and are out to win medals. Biggest news of the day so far is our first gold medalist, Justin Kobe Macario, who competed in Taekwondo freestyle, whom say earlier. He was not present in the parade last night, but that's because he made sure to honor his performance by practicing 4 times, and that paid off in his performance today by winning the gold. We also have other medals in Taekwondo. The pair of Giselle Itobla and Patrick Perrin got bronze in the recognized pair indictment, while a silver medal was added in the men's recognized Kumsig. Other bronze medals include men's downhill mountain bike event, bronze in jiu-jitsu men's fighting, and sepak takraw men's hoops. Now, earlier today, I also got to cover, for the first time in the SEA Games, we have the sport called Hockey Fives, and both our teams, men's and women's, got the bronze medals. Currently, if you can hear a bit of noise in my background, that's because I'm in the swimming pool venue in the stadium in Bangkok, and we're currently battling for medals for the 4x100 freestyle women's category. And I believe, looking at the time right now, we may just have won another gold for the Philippines, beating Singapore. So that's what transpired just a few seconds ago. Isa na namang ginto para sa Pilipinas.
Well, that's very good news, Dip. I know that Hockey Fives is debuting in the SEA Games, and if we won gold, that's even more impressive. But tell us about the other events that we should watch out for, especially tomorrow on the 3rd day of the SEA Games. Sports officials are targeting 60 gold medals. We already possibly have 2, so that's 58 more to go. Tell us some of the events we have strong chances of winning.
Well, while some of the sports are already done today, tomorrow magsisimula na rin. We're going to be starting off with volleyball, indoor volleyball for the women's, with Alas Pilipinas battling already, and of course some other events like boxing have already started as well with the preliminary round. So we know that we're a boxing nation. Malakas yung contenders natin for boxing, so we're expecting medals from that, as well as basketball. So far, 3x3, Gilas Pilipinas men undefeated after first day of elimination. So we are looking forward to those events in the coming days.
Well, Dip, we also heard about developments regarding Cambodia pulling out of the SEA Games. What can you tell us about that situation so far? And how has their withdrawal affected scheduling matchups or even the overall dynamics of the SEA Games now that we're down to just 10 nations?
Right. So earlier, there was a statement by the Cambodia National Olympic Committee, and they said that they will withdraw now all of their athletes and participants due to the request of the families of these athletes, because they are afraid that their relatives are unsafe here. So they want to send them back home. And so they had this formal letter sent earlier to the organizers. And my colleagues here in the other events, when we were all stationed, we were all messaging each other saying that the Cambodian athletes were not present. So they did not show up anymore. So in result to that, it is forfeited all of their matchups. So their supposed opponents in their respective sports advance to the next round because of their forfeiture.
Well, thank you very much for staying on top of things. That was Miguel De Pianco there reporting to us live from Bangkok in Thailand.
And finally, our big picture for tonight, a look at the action behind the MMFF's most anticipated entries. MQuest Ventures has dropped fresh behind-the-scenes photos from Manila's finest. starring ultimate heartthrobs Piolo Pascual and Enrique Hill, and M-Quest stars Dylan Menor and Cedric Juan. Also in the photos is singer-songwriter and producer Rico Blanco. Manila's Finest is M-Quest's 2025 Metro Manila Film Festival entry, produced in partnership with Spring Films and Signal. Set in the shadows of early 1970s Manila, the movie follows Lieutenant Homer Magtibay, played by Piolo, as he and his team hunt down a series of killings unfolding in the city slums. It is a crime thriller directed by Raymond Red.
All right, and that will do it for us here on The Big Story this midweek. Thank you so much for watching.
We are back here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. We'll see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.